Hey, I'm Ruben. I'm making this video because the other day I stumbled across a bunch of videos of people who are suffering from anxiety and depression. And they're basically calling out for help. And as a person myself who suffers from anxiety and depression, I felt really bad. All I could do was comment on the bottom of the video, and I really want to help. So, as a part of my whole Reuben Franken movement, I'm gonna add this whole thing in. Um, I want to try to do as much as I can to help people with anxiety and depression. So I'm asking people who suffer from it to please write me, either here on YouTube or email me and I will respond. We can just shoot the breeze. This video, a lot of what I have to say is focused on teenagers because the videos that I saw, that I watched, were a lot of teenagers who don't really know what's going on with them. They're feeling what they're feeling, that they have no idea. And so, um, but I'll try to post other videos in the future of for everybody, young and old. Um, Most importantly, I want people to feel safe and comfortable listening to me and writing to me because anyone with anxiety wants to feel that. You know, I want to help people because I've suffered from it. I suffer from anxiety and depression for the most part of my life. I understand it. I'm not you, but I can't, I don't know exactly what you're feeling, but I get it for the most part. The emotional and the physical pain that goes along with it. The chest pains, hyperventilation, the restlessness, the derealization, feeling like you're in some sort of messed up dream, insomnia, headaches, times when I can't leave the house, phobias, heart racing, feeling like I can't swallow or I can't breathe. The list goes on, as all of you know. So if you have anxiety and depression and you don't feel comfortable watching this, then I wouldn't suggest you watch this, because I want everyone with anxiety to feel comfortable. That's the most important part. And I don't want to tell anybody how to live their life. So, okay, let's just get right into it. When you're young, when I was young, I felt alone in my thoughts. I thought I was crazy. I didn't know what was going on with me, and I was worried about what people at school thought about me, all that stuff. But, and then when you're diagnosed and you find out that it's such a common thing and that other people have it as well, you don't feel nearly as bad or as alone. That's what I want to stress is that both anxiety and depression is so common. There's others at your school who have it as well. Some maybe aren't courageous enough to call out for help. But sometimes you need to call out for help when it gets really bad. That's an important thing. You need to know that it's okay to ask for help. Um, 'Cause I get it. I get it. We can help each other. Um, like I said, I'm not you. Um, but um, I'm sorry. This is all written down. So yeah. Okay. Also, you shouldn't be concerned about what other people think of it. I mean, of course, as a kid, especially, that's really hard to do. You're concerned about what people think about you. So that's really difficult. And it's hard not to worry about that. Um, but really, you're worrying. and is such a part of your anxiety and your panic and even your depression, you know. So, so some advice I can give for people is to have an outlet for your thoughts, like writing notes or journaling, um, because it's such a thought disorder. So you it's the best. Try to find ways to get control of your thoughts. You know, like a lot of people have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. That goes hand in hand with your anxiety. I mean, it is anxiety. So, okay, not everybody understands your anxiety and depression. Sometimes you just have to put up with those people. Try not to get upset with them, you know. Some of these people are really old and they don't understand. Um, what I tell the people who don't get it, I'll say something like if they say, it's all in your head. I'll say something like, "Yeah, you're damn right. It's in my head. It's not in my ass. It's in my head." Or if they don't understand it, if they just don't get it, I'll say, "Well, how can you not understand it? How can you not understand it? It's anxiety. It's a human emotion. If somebody doesn't understand what anxiety is, then they must be pretty ignorant and stupid. I mean, we've all felt it occasionally. Some people have it to the point where it disrupts their daily life, you know? Um, you know, tell the people, imagine if somebody doesn't understand it, tell them, imagine you're running for your life and you're about to die. Imagine you're drowning, you know, something like that. Sometimes you need to let people who don't understand, you need to let them understand because you need to get help. Um, and also, your problems as a kid are just as real and just as important as any adult problems. I can say being a teenager sucks, okay? Those were my worst years because you're going through puberty, and you're every things are already messed up. And so if you have anxiety and depression, that's all sorts of messed up stuff happens. So don't even think for a second that your problems aren't valid. They're so real, you know. It's important to know that you're not crazy. That is such, I mean, everybody with anxiety and depression, they feel like they're crazy, especially when it's new to you. You feel like I'm going crazy, you're not crazy, you know? It's such a common feel what you're going through is so common. And um you feel like you're crazy and that you're going to die or something horrific is going to happen. But you're not crazy. You're not mental. Medically speaking, psychiatrists and people like that, they only consider you crazy if, you know, you, you're psychotic and you're hearing voices. And I wish I didn't just say that because sometimes people do hear voices. I don't I don't even like the word crazy. Okay? Mental illness in general is such a huge stigma. Okay? Nobody is crazy. Okay? I've heard voices in the past. A lot of time some people get so depressed that they sometimes they hear voices, you know? Um okay, so where was I? Okay, so hopefully it's going to something that you Okay, yeah. So most people have these feelings at least once in their life, anxiety and or depression to where it's at an extreme level. So hopefully if you're going through this, it's something that maybe hopefully you don't have to deal with the rest of your life. Maybe it's just something you're going through right now. A lot of times that's the case. And sometimes I'm sorry, I got lost again. Okay, yeah. Um, and being healthy is extremely important. Like I said, I don't want to tell anyone how to live, and I don't want to sound like your father or an old guy, but I don't want to even go there. But for me, because of my because of my anxiety in my teenage years, I was put on a lot of different pills that only seemed to exacerbate my problems, and one thing led to another. So all I can say is sometimes medication is very necessary, but it's not the only thing. The main thing is that you have to realize is that you're in control. Because with anxiety and depression, you feel like you don't have control, but you do. And you do learn coping skills along the way, like breathing, deep breathing, look it up, imagery, all sorts of cool things that you can get better at with time. Avoid caffeine. I mean, people with anxiety disorder shouldn't have any caffeine, but I like my coffee, okay? I got the half caffeine. Um, the half caffeine kind of coffee, and that helps for me. Just limit your amount as much as possible if you really love your caffeine. Definitely do not have any caffeine whatsoever if you're feeling the slightest amount of anxiety, um, or if you feel anything like that coming on. It's out of the car. It's not in the. It's not in the cards. When you're in the panic attack, as you all know, it's the worst. That's the thick of it. Unless, you're going through a breakdown. Um, the important thing to know is that you will not die. And sometimes, if you just have something like a pet, like a dog or a cat, or even a person who loves you enough, who's kind enough to help you through it, um, even if they don't help you through it, that does not mean they don't love you, okay? Nobody's perfect. Not everybody understands it. With panic attacks, it's really a waiting game. Some last longer than others. Some are sort of stretched out to where it's like a general anxiety, where it's not as full blown, and then it comes in spurts throughout the day. What I've always said is that when when you're not having a panic attack, that's the best time to get control over your thoughts and your anxiety, because that's the time when you have the control. So don't take advantage of control, or the feeling of control. I mean, you always have control, you know. Um, even when you have a panic attack, you have control. You just don't feel like you have control. You don't realize it, but you can gain control to some extent. You just got to reach into your mind and find a place where you can get a little bit of control. Anxiety is based on your thoughts. So you want to try to control the negative thinking when you're not having panic attacks. Let people know what you're going through is the real deal. Let them know you're not crying wolf. You need to be open and honest. Don't be afraid to talk to people who you feel comfortable with. It's good to use social media as an outlet, but most importantly, don't be scared to let people who love you know what's going on. I mean, that's so important because you don't want it to only get worse by hiding your feelings. Never be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed of it. Just try not to be. It's something you shouldn't have to be ashamed of. Do what you love to do, okay? Whatever your passion is. If you don't have a passion, find a passion, you know? Don't let it become you, okay? Anxiety and depression may be a part of your life, but it is not your life. It may be a part of you, but it doesn't define you, okay? Most importantly, to all the people who suffer from it, I think of all of you as soldiers, as well as myself. For anyone who has depression and anxiety disorder, we're soldiers, and you just need to think of it as your enemy and fight the fuck out of it. Excuse my language. Um, because you cannot allow this thing to take control of your life. I let it take control over my life, and that was a mistake. I wanted relief so bad. I wanted to escape what I was feeling instead of fighting what I was feeling. So you may think, why should I listen to someone like you who ran away from it all? Well, because everyone learns from their mistakes, and I learned from my mistakes, and it's made me smarter and stronger. I'm going to stop here because I don't want my thing to mess up. I don't want to run out of time. Part two is coming up.